الرجال قوامون على النساء. Men are maintainers, caretakers over women. But let's dig deep into that word in between men and women, which is قوامون على النساء. The word قوام comes from the Arabic verb قام, to stand, but also means to commit, lazima, to take care of, to maintain, to be serious, to be committed to something. As a matter of fact, one of the names of Allah comes from this same origin. Allahu la ilaha illa huwa al-hayyul qayyum. Al-qayyum is actually related to the word al-qawwam. It's from the same origin. And so the first thing from a imani point of view, from a faith point of view, is we have to be careful in how to understand this word, because Allah chose this word to extract from it one of His own names. The first thing I'd like to highlight is from the Arabic point of view, this word has nothing to do with authority. There are several words in Arabic that are available for what word? For what concept? Authority. Qama is not one of them. Qawwam is not one of them. As a matter of fact, Umara is different from Qawwam, or Amir is different from Qawwam. There's a fundamental difference. But unfortunately, in many people's minds, even this opening statement of the ayah is interpreted as men are authorities over women. Do men have authority over women in certain circumstances? Absolutely, I will be the first to tell you. But where does that come from? It comes from other places. Anyhow, what does this imply? Qawwam actually is called sighatul mubalagha, something that requires takrar, repetition. Like, in Arabic you'll say khabbaz or khayyat or qassas and things like that, right? They come from the same pattern. When somebody does something over and over and over again, and they have to keep going back and doing it, and then they become an expert in doing so. And so when names sound like that, like one of Allah's names is Ghaffar. Ghaffar suggests that Allah doesn't just forgive, He forgives repeatedly, over and over again. Qawwam here suggests that men continually express their care, their loyalty, their commitment. They renew it over and over again over women. That's the idea of Qawwam. Someone who maintains, takes care of, shows loyalty, shows love, is actively involved over and over again. In other words, men don't get to be passive in their relationship with their women. It cannot be a passive relationship. It cannot be, she knows I love her. It can't be that. Oh, she knows I care. It can't be that. It needs to actually be expressed actively and repeatedly and constantly. Why should this be the case? On what basis should you be the caretaker? Why? Because, first, بِمَا فَضَّلَ اللَّهُ بَعْضَهُمْ عَلَى بَعْضٍ. Because Allah has given some preference over others. Now, first reading of that might make you think that means because men should maintain, take care of, commit themselves and renew and continually refresh their commitment to their women because Allah gave preference to men over women. But actually that would have been بِمَا فَضَّلَهُمُ اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِنَّ. When He says بِمَا فَضَّلَ اللَّهُ بَعْضَهُمْ عَلَى بَعْضٍ, that actually means some over others. In other words, in some matters Allah has given women advantages, and in some matters Allah has given men advantages. I'll give you, for example, a Quranic advantage Allah gave women. وَاتَّقُوا اللَّهَ الَّذِي تَسَاءَلُونَ بِهِ وَالْأَرْحَامَ إِنَّ اللَّهَ كَانَ عَلَيْكُمْ رَقِيبًا. Allah mentioned taqwa of Himself, and then He mentioned taqwa of the womb, of the mother. What a status given to the woman, that Allah put taqwa, which occurs either for Allah or for Judgment Day or for protecting yourself from Allah's torment in the Akhirah. Be that careful of Allah, be careful of Judgment Day, be careful of the womb of the mother. And everything that comes with it, whether it's marriage, motherhood, your aunt, your grandparents, etc., grandchildren, whatever bonds you to somebody through the womb is a sacred bond now that you should have taqwa of. What an advantage that's been given. Other places in the Quran, Allah will say, وَلَهُنَّ مِثْلُ الَّذِي عَلَيْهِنَّ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ. He's given them some advantages in compensation for some of the disadvantages. That's what Allah will say Himself. And this is in a dignified way. That Allah did this not to humiliate them, but He added even the qualification, bil ma'ruf, at the end of that phrase. So the idea here is Allah is actually encouraging men to acknowledge that women have been given certain honors, and because of it they must go out of their way to take care of women. They must actually acknowledge the blessings Allah has given them, the merits that Allah has given them, and in acknowledgement of that, now you've been put not in a position of advantage, but rather in a position of responsibility. This is a burden on you. This is something you'll be asked about. This is actually in line with ثُمَّ لَتُسْأَلُنَّ يَوْمَئِذٍ عَنِ النَّعِيمِ. On that day you'll be asked about the favor, the blessings you enjoyed. And that is one of them.